Hello. Welcome to another episode of Ouch My Money. I am Denise, your host slash moderator slash the person that is not so finance information equipped compared to the rest of my friends who are coming on in a bit. How you guys been? Is it good? Let's see who is the first one that's coming on. I think it's going to be the Balenciaga person. Hello, Junho.
Hello. Can you hear me well? Really?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course I can hear you, but a bit soft.
Okay, wait.
And most importantly, is why my face is so fat. Yeah.
I can't do anything with your face with my
Let me
mic.
just do
Okay.
that.
Wait, does it sound better now? I'm using a headphone.
Yes, I can tell that you're using a headphone. I think it's better than previously.
Okay, so I'm just testing it.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. But a bit soft, maybe you put very close to you or something.
How much closer? Later I'll be shouting into it. How is this?
No, I think just on that one okay lah. Maybe just play a bit louder lor.
You're too loud now.
Oh, okay. I think that is the other guy of the show. Man friend. Afe! Man friend! Where's the last girlfriend? Yeah, she is today.
Hello.
Oh, she's gonna kill me. Talk of the devil. Ta-da! And the four of us are here. Yay! Say hi to all the viewers.
Hello.
Rachel, a bit soft there, you.
Am I?
Yeah, is it I'm too loud? No lah, I'm not too loud. I refuse to say that I'm too loud. Okay, today our special guest, not special guest, our everyday guest, every episode guest is not here because he is frantically trying to complete some project. So it's the 4 pillars of Ouch My Money that is here. Let's check it out. Today I posted checked out. Today I posted right saying that today's topic is going to be money drama. Right. This one is thanks to JC. Thanks JC for the recommendation, or rather the idea, because it's actually a great idea when we talk about money drama in couples, especially when you're talking about in relationships, especially when you're talking about couples or families or things like that. So first up to talk about this will be our dear friend that always works with families and couples and planning finance. Afe! Maybe make it easier for you. Tell us about the most common conflicting money drama or conflicting money value that you have seen so far in your many years.
So it doesn't have to be from my own family, right?
No, but later maybe I share with you all my own drama with my husband.
Oh no, is he here? Is he here?
He's not, because actually every Thursday today is Wednesday. He's not. Is he watching? I don't know whether he's watching. He's not. He's not supportive.
Okay.
Not supportive husband. Afiq, go.
Yeah. So there was this couple I work with, and they don't talk about money at all, to the point where he will just work, spend whatever he wants, then whatever he buys just gets delivered. Now it's delivered, or it just brings it home. And then the wife will nag, why you buy this, why you buy that, you don't need it. And then she buys stuff and he does the same thing. And so there's a lot of friction. Both are working, and so the argument that they both fall into is, hey, it's my money, I do what I want with it, right? And it can, and when I sit together with them, sometimes they throw barbs at each other, like, oh, he buys this stuff, he buys that stuff, and she buys this stuff and buys it, and never tell me, never ask me why he needs another one of this item, or why she needs another one of that item. It's wasting money. That scenario is actually relatively common. It's not the worst I've heard, but it is relatively common. So
Okay. So you become sort of like a money counselor, really. A marriage counselor.
pretty much. That's half the work I do is keeping marriages together.
So actually, I'm very curious, right? They have differences. So basically, why there was such a big conflict in the way, in money in terms of their relationships because of the way they spend it, right? And their spending habits, right? Is it?
The root cause I've realized about a lot of conflict when it comes to couples, especially, is the unmet expectation. One spouse will expect the other spouse to just, or you should be responsible with your money. We have to save money, and it means entirely different things to each other, right? And so say A will expect B to do this. In A's mind, this is how you should be handling money, and expects B to follow the same way. And B has an entirely different view on how to handle money. And to B, that's how being responsible, or that's what their relationship with money is. And they both expect that the other person needs to understand that, oh, it's just me. That's how I do it. It's just me. And then that's when the fight comes.
And so, sorry. So it's like one party will expect, yes, you ought to save your money. There's money you got to save and save and save, and then I'm going to be the one that is using the money, not you. You are not supposed to use the money. I'm supposed to use the money. You got to save. I'm going to use. Is that so?
Got such thing one. God. Can I add something? There's also this expectation that sometimes in traditional families, guys are supposed to be the breadwinner, the man of the house. So I've this couple where I was working with them, and then this lady was expecting the husband to bring in the money, and unconsciously, because both of them felt the same way, the guy felt very stressed because of that. But that didn't surface until we actually talked about it. Yeah.
So it was an uncommunicated expectation.
Yes.
So like kind of like an unspoken agreement.
And well, until we at that point for that particular couple, until we really sat down and talked about it, they weren't conscious of it. They didn't know about it consciously as well, that they were reacting the way they did because of that unconscious thing that that the expectation is for the guy to bring in the money for the family and stuff.
So that is the psyche behind it. How did you actually get to there with them?
Oh, so I think we're
Deviating
from Afiq's story a little bit, but in that couple,
can we finish Afiq's story first?
I'm done.
Oh, is
His
it?
story is done.
But wait. Before I go to Rachel, I've got some questions to ask Afiq. So you were saying that this person, I don't know which one is the which one of them is like, how come you're spending money like this? Why you're spending money is this? Why are you even spending things on this? But the thing is that, whose money are they spending? Are they spending their own money that they made? So if that's my money I made, then don't I have the right to spend it?
Yeah, and so again, there's this unspoken expectation, right? There's this unspoken expectation that now that we're a couple, now that we're married, shouldn't we be having a shared pool of money? We're a couple, we move together in the same way. We're gonna die together, grow old together. Okay, wrong order. You're gonna grow old together, die together.
So what it means is like, so now that they're married, you're a couple, so you're no longer two separate individuals, you're no longer individual persons, you can never think of it as individual persons, and the money one person has to go through somebody agreement to be used. So does it work vice versa, or is like, no, you cannot touch the money because your money is mine, and you cannot touch my money because my money is mine?
That sounds very familiar, right?
Really?
I mean, yeah. Let's as is. Let's call out the elephant in the room, right? In past generations, I've heard it been said that when it comes to women, my money is my money, your money is my money. They always say that, right? It's always the older generation likes to say that, and more in the younger generation that I help, it's not necessarily true. Especially considering I help a lot of Malay families, and the Malay families mindset. It's actually okay. So throwing in a little bit of religion here. Way back when, it was understood that whatever belonged to the wife belongs to the wife. Whatever her earnings are hers. Okay, the husband's not allowed to touch it. In fact, the husband's role, in a very traditional patriarchal role, is you go out, earn money, take care of the family, provide for everyone, give your wife an allowance, just basically take care of her. She's not supposed to do anything monetarily. Previously, long ago, when especially we have single income households. Now, most households are dual income, right? And we still have people who say, okay, let the wife spend whatever she wants. Her money she earns, she keeps. She wants to spend, she spends. Then the husband, whatever he earns is for the family. It's not his money, it is the family's money. And so more and more, and then we have more and more people, the younger ones, who say, no, we're both dual income, so both of us contribute equally, or at least in certain percentages, to the family and the expenses and whatever. And so I get to see the thinking shift, generationally speaking. The older ones have that thinking. The less old ones or slightly younger ones have a mix of both. And the younger families especially have that. And it's very common, where nowadays it really becomes a discussion. Some couples don't discuss. Some couples over discuss. Some couples don't know discuss until what. So yeah, it very much depends on which generation we're coming from, family background, and so on.
Is that a question, Jim?
Yes, that's the answer.
Yeah, kind of, but I mean, I've heard of this before. I mean, even in the traditional Chinese era, the lady of the house is always a financial controller. Okay, not my generation, not my parents' generation, or not even my grandparents' generation, but further back than that. I've heard about that before. The wife is the first wife, whatever the concubines in those days, is the financial controller. But I also met colleagues during my time as an employer. I've met colleagues who will come to the office, and these are not Singaporeans, no. These are Westerns. These are Westerners. These are expats. They'll say, today I only have this amount of money to spend for lunch. And I say, what happened? You're not earning that little, right? I said, no. The money is all in my wife. She only gave me this much for my lunch today. So it is a very, I guess, a very traditional way where the woman holds the money.
I think like you say, it's very traditional, but I think it came because last time the women okay, so men will take care of earning enough to keep the family alive. The woman is in charge of the actual keeping the family alive part. So whatever the man earn is meant to use for the family, correct? So then the man will give the woman, then the woman will use it accordingly.
Look at my look.
No, very last time, I think that's how it. I mean, because these are like Rachel just now said, these are unspoken things. That means it came down from generation after generation, and it sort of got instilled in us. You get what I'm trying to say? And then, but as the times change, then people start to change, and they realize that they're like, it's like if a wife expect the husband to help out with the household chores because both are working, then it also means that the wife needs to contribute financially because both are working, right? That's what I think, at least.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think at least that's what I think. So then back to Rachel and your story. Wait, Afi, are we done with yours?
I can go the whole night with this, so let's go with Rachel.
You can go the whole night.
Wow.
Wow, I see that's what she did not say. Okay,
That's what she
Rachel.
wants.
Okay, so my story. So how I work with that particular client, or generally how I work with couples when it comes to money, is I work with them separately first. You know, I sort of pull them separately. So I talk to each of them because sometimes, you know, when two person comes together, there has to be the similar context. And there may be things that one feels comfortable talking to someone else without the husband or the wife around and stuff. So what I do is I put them separately. I talk to each of them in turn, and we talk about money values because the focus is money for that particular sessions and stuff. So then we'll talk about money. We'll talk about what about money is what's important to them about money and what money gives them. What does money represent to them? And what is important to them about money, and what is also their expectations when it comes to money. So there's actually 3 streams that we're looking at. One is personally, what is their own, what do they feel about money by themselves, and how do they actually 2. One is how do they, you know, use money how do they think about money in their own sense, and also how do they see, what do they see about family money. 2 streams here. So then after I've spoken to each of them in turn, I'll put them together, and therein lies the interesting part where, you know, we pull out both of them, we talk about both of their expectations and what it means to them in together. And that's where the communication part comes in. So if we have not mentioned this before, communication is important. Yeah, especially in couples and especially when it comes to money. Yeah.
And yet we do see couples who do not want to communicate.
Yeah.
Right?
And
That is such a painful thing.
Yes. And generally those are the couples that have problems with money because they don't talk about it.
Yeah, because you're supposed to know me, right? You heard of it?
Then-
You're
You
supposed
sound
to
like a
know
girl
me.
suddenly. Slap the shit out of whoever tells me. I'm not a mind reader. You think
Yeah.
I what? X-Men, huh? That Professor X, if I'm Professor X, I will not be here, okay? Oh. Anyway, but that's a bit of the psyche behind it, right? That I'm actually very interested also. Actually, I think is this a very Asian thing? Or does it like span across like this another thing about money, which is the couples we don't talk about. There are couples who find it very hard to talk about money with each other.
Well, there are also couples where one partner is, just does all the financial management in the household, and then the other partner's like, okay, well, since he's doing it, I don't need to do anything, lor.
Yeah, can I share a story about that? I also have a story about that, where one is willingly ignorant and the other one takes care of everything else. I came across this. I was talking to this lady the other day, a few months back, many months back. So she was saying that she doesn't know how much she earns. She doesn't know when salary is being credited into a bank account. She doesn't know how much is a credit card bill. She doesn't know about the utility. She has zero information about even her own salary. So which is interesting. So then I started talking to her and I was asking her, so who manages all that? She said her husband does everything. And so my first question to her is, are you okay with it? You're comfortable with it? She said, yeah. She's happily,
Ignorant.
yeah, in that sense. Then I can't say anything, right? If she's
my
happy.
God.
Yeah. So
But
they're
it
really
depends on individual, correct or not?
Yeah, I
So
know,
there's
but
people like that who are happily ignorant.
yeah, I'm
Although
stuck like a
maybe,
vegetable. That's all.
Yeah, although there may be a consequence that, well, may or may not be a consequence.
I think as a couple, so we covered about money values, what money values are actually, and we really shared some stories about interesting money drama, money values, conflicting money values that couples specifically have from Afiq and Rachel. But I think at the end of the day, there are many different types of couples. So if let's say just now, I think Afiq was the one who talked about communication, right? if both communicate what they are expecting from each other and they're very clear, then um, whatever works for you. Some people they like to manage everything, married to somebody that don't like to manage anything, then that's perfect. I think, right?
So here's my take when it comes to money, right? You've got in my own words, is you've got minor things and you've got major things, right? And you also have day-to-day things and you have your end point. And so with day-to-day things, yeah, that's fine. You're a couple, you're a family, you have your day-to-day expenses, your activities, and your cost of living every day. Then of course, as a couple, the one constant that everybody has is time. And so where do you want to go? Where's your end point? What happens after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? And so we talk about goals as well. And so if a couple doesn't have shared goals or a shared vision of where they both want to be, then that conversation can only be completed when you talk about money. Like, for example, hey, we acknowledge people want to retire. You can't work forever, right? Some will say, oh, no, I'll work until I die. Yeah, fine. Does your partner agree with that? Or some people say, oh, no, I'm going to retire at 50. Does your partner agree with that? I want to retire at 60. Does your partner agree with that? Do you both have shared goals, right? And then when I said about money, you have your day-to-day expenses, you got your bigger expenses. Your day-to-day expenses, fine. You can close one eye. One partner handles everything. He pays all the bills, the cost of living bills, whatever. But then there are those certain big purchases, or even that feeds into goals as well. Like, are we saving money? Are we investing money? Are we buying a new oven, for example? Like, because we're shopping for a new oven, and that's going to be a big purchase for us. And it's definitely a conversation that we're having. Right? And so the small, big purchases, and you have day to day, and then you have long-term goals. So these are the kinds of things that people need to talk about.
So you're saying that.
And there lies the trouble. And there's not the trouble, there lies the problem of communication. Because people don't talk about this when they are dating. They put up a front. And money, while it is not the most important thing in the world, but it is a vehicle to a lot of things. It's one of the things that helps you get to your goal. And how you handle money actually has a lot. It actually represents your underlying values of what you want in life. It's a representation. It's not really what it is. Ultimately, it's a representation of the values. But people don't talk about it because they want to present this person to the other party. And they don't want to talk about all these things upfront when they're dating. And that's one of the major problems. But if they've talked about it, they'll argue over it. Well, they may split up even before they got any further. Maybe that's a good thing. If split up before you even got married, maybe it's a good thing sometimes. Because if you got married and then you get into all sorts of arguments, maybe it's even worse. But people don't want to talk about this. They want, especially men, they want to show that they have so much to give. I just want to use a nice word.
Can I do a quick survey, because there's 2 married couples here? Do you guys talk about money before you get married?
I think go first. Say something.
Of course we did. Of course we did. Although I got to admit, our plans and goals changed over the past decade that we've been together. But we did have a conversation. It was a very real conversation about what we wanted from life, right? Because we were very well aware that, hey, we're not going to be in our 20s for very long. What do we want? Do we want a house? Do we want kids? Do we want, to be Bali beach bums? What do we want? And it was a real conversation, and we had needed that conversation. And so we went into the relationship with eyes open, with expectations, and we also did have a caveat: plans will change. And it's just whether do we want to, when the plans do change, are we still together?
This sounds terribly. I don't know what to say.
So that's the thing. And that's a conversation that I can totally be a dating coach, right? Like it's a conversation you gotta have that regardless of what happens, are you gonna be happy with me? Right? If my plan is, okay, I don't want to be a Bali beach bum, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, right? I'm gonna be pulling in long hours, working hard, making a difference. You okay with that? Versus, okay, hey, I'm happy, I'm tired of being self-employed, I'm tired of running my own business, I'm gonna be an employee for a bit. Will you still be with me then? Or hey, we're 50, we've got $1 million. Screw it, I've had enough. Let's retire. Are you gonna be happy with that? And so that's the question, right? Are you with this person because of the person, and you embrace him for all his, his craziness, his different plans, how he changes things and he pivots and he goes left, right, and you love him for that? Or do you want a specific, someone that doesn't change, that, is constant throughout?
You remind me of the wedding vow, for better or for worse.
Oh yeah, that vow is so heavy. I've listened to it so many times. Like it's a vow that nobody in their right mind can stick to.
Oh my God!
It is. No, you think about it. It's not just for better or for good. You cannot even think about it. Not even a little bit of thought or straying. You listen to the exact. I was listening to it. It's like, oh my goodness! It's like the person is inhuman. Cannot stray a little bit. Cannot be tempted a little bit. Oh my goodness! If you stick strictly to it.
This one I talk about in my other show. It's not about sticking strictly to it. Okay, never mind.
Never mind, we talk separately, but
yeah, that one
was like mind-boggling for me listening to it. But I agree with Afiq. It's like you need to be with the person, and that reminds me of a friend. When I was in reservist, he actually left his job halfway in the middle of reservist and come and told me, "I just quit my job." I said, "Wow, what are you going to do?" I don't know. I'm just bumming around for a while. Then I said, how's everything at home? He said, fine. I told my wife I had enough of the company and all those things. I just got to leave. And she said, and he said, she said, and he said his wife supported him. And she will do whatever she can in those time to do everything and use the savings for what, because she felt it is good for him too. So they have discussed and she agreed. So she's standing by him for what she felt is important to him and what makes him happy as well. So I've met people like that too. So they probably have discussions, they're willing to discuss about money stuff. But then again, there are people who marry some people for their money. So when money becomes an issue, drama will start.
Okay, that one topic for another day. I haven't finished yet. My side. Just now Rachel got asked to.
Yes.
So no, not married. Why? I talk so much. If married people, question.
I go listen to many people tell me stuff.
Okay, so anyway, for one and yes, we talked a little bit about finances. Not to the. I grew up in a family where my parents don't talk about money with each other. To us also, but I think their intention was so that they would carry the burden alone. The very old school way of thinking. So I grew up with that instilled in me. So I used to be one of those that is very, very resistant to not just talking about money is okay. So if you talk about general, like Afiq like that, general intentions, general goals, general spending habits, I'm okay with it. But if you want to go into the basics, like look at the bank account, look at your credit card statements, I become very, very resistant to it. And so when we were dating, my husband and I, we actually talked a little bit about money. He has seen how he's a finance person in the sense that he's somebody that keeps a very good track of his finances. So he sees how I spend money. He knows that I'm not somebody who's very good with my finances. And he is a saver. I'm a spender. So before we got together, we did talk a little bit about money, but not a lot. then when we decided to get married, we said that okay, maybe it's time to get really serious about this. We need to open an account together. And then he actually went through my statements. He asked me quite a
Went
few
through a
times.
statement.
Yeah, no. He asked me quite a few times because I don't know how to manage my own money. Honestly speaking, I'm not very good at it. I mean now I'm better. But previously, I was really not very good. I mean, not to the point where I don't know how much I earn now. I know how much I earn, but I don't know where it all goes. You know what I mean? I like at the end. No. The time I was still very young. We never do that so much. So it was like the money just I just got money this amount and I spend until wherever, and then after that that's it. That's all I know. I don't know. I never keep track like majority of my expenditure goes to where I can cut down and things like that. I didn't at all. That's why. And then I was having okay. This one is like a opener. I was having credit card issues then. I was unable to pay back the amount of money that I was owing the credit cards. So he knew, and I checked with him, and then of course he was a bit alarmed lah. Then he asked me, then told him a general amount, and I told him that never mind, I will take care of it. But then after he asked me many times, then after that's when he started to go through my statements, so that he could work out kind of like a plan for me lah to get out of that. Yeah, so we did talk about money when we decided that we were going to get married. We talked about it quite a while, or throughout our beginning of the marriage also. It was very difficult because our spending habits are very, very different. Yeah, so yes, we talked about it a little bit, and then as things got serious, we talked about it much more. That was what we did.
I wanted to add on something with regards to the credit card.
Mm.
That I've met quite a lot of people who are my clients as well, and they have credit card debt, and choose not to tell choose not to tell their spouse because they feel that it's their problem. They didn't want to worry the other party. They wanted to resolve it on their own. So, but at the end of the day, what usually happens is it's easier to manage when both of the spouse in the marriage are aligned and they know what's happening. So it's easier to manage it from there.
Mm-hmm. So it was. So at the end of the day, it was. How should I put it? I mean, for me, I didn't want to share because I was ashamed of it. My opening, the reason why I didn't want to share was because I was ashamed of it. It's not something to be proud of that you have a credit card debt, right? It means that you are not managing your finances well. So it was. I felt like in that area of life I had failed, and I was ashamed of it. That was the reason why I didn't want to share the credit card bill. As in, I think that out of respect, I told him I had credit card bills because I feel that we are going to a marriage together, and it means that whether we like it or not, what I spend, what I save, what he spends, what he saves, is going to affect the both of us, right? Yeah. So I told him, and then there was a discussion, and then after that, the most important. Okay, so just now we talked about communication, right? So we spoke about money values, and then we talked about how important it is to communicate. Communication is really key to resolving a lot of conflicts. But in this particular case, we're talking about money drama. And the second thing that Wen Kai did for me was we set up a system. So I think that one is also very important in resolving money drama. To actually sit down, have a necessary, maybe painful conversation about setting up a system for the family. Right? Is that what you do, Afiq?
I'd like to add when we talk about systems, right? When we talk about systems,
money.
here's the thing about us. We have a system that doesn't involve much thinking. Because the moment you start thinking, it gets very boring and it becomes tedious. And so we want to remove the tedium of it. And so our investments are automated, our savings are automated, and so whatever you want to spend, you spend lah, right? Because you already know that things are already going on.
Wait,
And
I want to ask something. So that means that the income that you all get, it goes automatically, a portion of it automatically goes to your savings, a portion of it automatically goes to investment, a portion goes automatically to expenses. So whatever you see in your expense account, you can spend. Is that what you meant?
yes,
And you can spend.
pretty much. I know people who who track every single cent, and I'd like to say that Lina and I, we don't track every single cent. We know that every month X dollars goes into a cash account. X dollars goes into our long-term nest egg portfolio. X dollars remains in the checking account, and then I'll usually take out some for other purposes, like satellite portfolio, a bit more of more speculative plays with my investments. And Lena will have her stuff that she wants to buy, like clothes for the kids, toys for the kids, food stuff that she wants, extra things. And so that's really helped us, simply because we know that all I have to do is look at the cash account. Okay, it's still growing. We're fine. Looking at the investments, we're okay. Years back when we implemented this, there were some months that it skipped. Like the gyro would say, "Oh, okay, insufficient amount to be deducted into that particular account." Then we know, hey, we kind of overspend this month. And it was okay to fail. For us, it was okay to fail because it was us building up the habit. And you fall off the wagon once in a while, that's okay. It's just at least it's a notification from whatever bank or investment platform we're using that deduction failed. And so we know that we mismanaged that month. And so we look, it becomes a signal, hey, we look a bit more, oh yeah, we overspend here, overspend there. Or especially when during very quiet months, or especially when I was first starting out in business, right? The cash flow was a bit erratic. And then I know. But now I'm a bit more established. Cash flow is a bit more predictable. And I'm very proud to say that we haven't had a missed month in a couple of years already. So yeah.
That's good. Actually, that was a system that Wen Kai set up for me also. So I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I just want to add, for those that's already in a relationship, okay, I have to say, you got to talk about money before you get into a relationship, because the values about money actually represents the values that each of the person, the two individuals, are about in their life. So they bring that values through money into shared lives. So if they don't talk about it, they're stepping into together a combined life, and it will affect each other. Those values will affect each other, and if they don't talk about it before, they ought to start talking about it during or at least in the marriage. But if they don't even talk about it, at least have a system.
Yeah.
Even have a system, have a rule. Even if the rule is my money is my money, your money is also my money, it's still a system. And if both parties agree to it, fine, just stick with it. And if the wife says, I am the financial controller, I will give you allowances. All the money you give it to me, I'll give you allowances every day. And if the husband agrees, stick to it, no drama already. You just have a set of rules that both can agree to and abide by. As long as that's it, should be okay. The problem, I think, eventually is they don't agree to the system, or people start breaking the system.
Yeah. So, and what we've seen in this is it just boils down to achieving a consensus, not a compromise, right? A consensus is long term. Compromise will start to hurt and irritate, and I can't do this. I got to compromise. You know what I mean? And so it's consensus. At home, it's very much consensus. Like, okay, law, everything's settled. Go and spend law. Yes, I admit I will nag. Like when she gets 3 deliveries a day, I'll be like, wow, what your order 3 days? She'll take out, kids clothes. Oh, look, a new appliance. Oh, look, a new notebook. I'm like, wow. But the nagging is just to stay in character, because just to stay in character, have to nag. You know what I mean? the relationship going.
It makes me wonder what kind of character should I stay in.
Throw a bit of a fit. Wow! And then.
Within the boundaries that you agree upon, then
Exactly.
ultimately it's fine.
Exactly, because we still have like KPIs that we know, right? All the different, we look at all the numbers, the big numbers are still fine. And so the small ones, I know I can let it slide, but it's not fun to just let it
She's
slide.
going to punch you. She has commented, "Hey, not true."
Not true. I read it. Yeah, not true. You probably in the home. Oh no, sorry.
Comment. Yeah, it's so true, okay? Wow!
Okay, and on comments, right? So Lina said, "Hey, not true." Comments. JC says,
Have I
"Awesome."
done something stupid 21 years ago? What the heck?
Yeah. JC said that awesome in setting up an automated system and creating healthy money habits. Just to talk about money, just now Chunho talked about money and money values and how that also ties into the person's values, right? A lot of the time, I realize that for a lot of people, there's always a lot of drama around money because money is not just money to us. They have a lot of emotions, connotations, and things that are tied around that money. So we have Rachel. She has no idea. I'm gonna ask her. No, but I'm just curious. Huh? Yeah, I'm just curious. Like money. Okay, so let's start with you. So what does money mean to you, or what? Or you know, a lot of the people that you work with, right? Because I know you work with both individuals and couples and friends and etc. But a lot of people you work with, what is the most common thing that people associate with money? Because
For
let's
me-
be clear. Huh?
Yeah, so two separate things for me. First is what money means to me, and second is what money means to a lot of the people that I work with. For me, money is a tool for me to get what I want, whatever it is. That's all there is. Yeah. For a lot of my clients, it takes a little bit of education, but at the end of the day, we always reach the end outcome of them realizing that, oh, actually, when they have money, they feel secure. It's security, protection, stability, independence, freedom. For many of them, it doesn't mean that all this will apply to every single person, but every one of us is different. So generally, in majority of my clients, this is what it represents. And once they realize that this is what they're going for, and they realize that money is one of the ways to get there, it's just a tool, and allow themselves to think out of the box, there can be other ways to get towards that freedom, towards that independence, towards that stability. Money is just one of the tools. Yeah.
Okay, then they stop having that relationship with money, right?
That stop having that depressing relationship with that fixation on that. Oh, I must have 1 million in the bank. I must have 1 million in the bank. That fixation goes off because they recognize there's something else that they're going for instead of the money.
Basically, they recognize that wanting that amount of money or spending money in a certain way is because they are looking for something else. And they realize that there's something else. So that's what JC said in one of her comments also. Do clearing and healing around money. So it's money and money and us. Okay. Yep. So I think hang on. What else? So we have covered rules and systems, but actually I think a system, I agree with Afiq though, on the system part. That's what I was going to say earlier. The system that is automated where I don't actually have to think about it is best for me. Some people they have to track where their money goes. I think it works for different people. Huh? What's that? Oh,
There
really?
was very loud scooter background noise, and we are not sure who's. But anyway, it's over.
Yeah, it's
How
always
dare
gone.
the disrupt us.
Gone.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So on systems, I think it works for me also, where I don't actually have to think about it, and I just have to look at whatever money I have left. So what happens now is the salary goes first into savings, and then a portion of it comes out into my expenses. So whatever is my expenses, I can spend. Yeah. So that was how we came to that system. And now, okay. Does anybody else have any other stories to share? Does anybody watching have any stories to share? And this one guy is so terrible. He said then they stop having a relationship. We just got married only, okay, huh?
Really?
Okay, so sorry, what?
But then,
Like,
You guys have been married for as long as I know you. What?
how long have you known us? Not very long, lor. I mean, we have a very deep relationship, but it's not that
Has it
long.
been 4 years?
I think slightly more than that. Actually, I have no idea how long I've been married. 5 years, but in terms of marriage, it's very short. What? In marriages, you count in decades, ma. I would say lah, right? 30, 40, 50 years.
Okay, then my marriage is still quite new.
Yeah, precisely. You wait until you have been like 30 years together, then I think you will evolve into something else. Not evolve into something else, not like a monster. I mean, the relationship will evolve. Your spending will evolve. Oh,
there's
I see
a
a
comment. Yes.
Yeah, I was reading it as well.
I want to, okay, I'm going to read it out loud. This is from our dear friend JC. She's the one who contributed to today's topic, by the way. So thank you. Another situation, so JC says, another situation is when one partner finances their partner and it goes too long. And if it goes on too long with the assumption that they do not need to pay it back, it may also create built-up resentment. It is important to be clear if you're lending money who put me on loudspeaker? Who is the
It was
which
me.
of here
Because I was
is
trying to read the comments from JC, and on our side, it's truncated.
$2. Important to be clear if you're loaning money to your partner and have agreements to pay it back, like a family bank, etc. So she does that with her mom. She pays her interest. It creates a healthy flow. That is true. But I think
agree.
yes, I know. But then it all comes back to communication, correct?
Yeah, it all comes. I agree, and I said it all comes to communication. If the person wants to lend it and want to lend it out of no need to return, then make it very clear and have no resentment about it. And if you know that you want it back, don't get and say that I don't need it back. If you want it back, you say you need it back, and by when you need it back. Don't say what do you say, magnanimous and say no, I don't need it back, but in your heart say I need it back, and then that the resentment is got. So I know then I wouldn't blame the person that is taking the money and not returning you. The person is to blame. Okay, the person needs to be clear of what the person, even the lender needs to be clear of what the person is doing and say and communicate the intent and what the person wants. Okay, it's always the communication is two-way. And communication doesn't mean just open your mouth and say what the other person likes to hear. It's saying what you want to say and what is in your heart.
I think the clarity comes from two parts. One, you must be clear about yourself. What happened to Chuno? He freeze. You must be clear about yourself, right? First, that's the first one. Then you must also be clear in your communication to the other person. So that's two parts of clarity, right? Because if I don't even know what I want or need or whatever, then what my spending habits are, it's a bit hard to put it into words, right? Okay. Thanks, JC, for sharing your story with your mom.
So it boils down to communication, right? At the end of the day, it's important communication. It's whether it's money is a very big part of relationships. If you don't communicate, nothing is gonna work. Everything from what for dinner up to you. You know what I mean? anything. You know, that's like some of the worst things. You know, one of my good friends, I went to his office, you know, before lockdown and whatever, and there was this little handwritten note that was on one of the walls in the pantry. It was nicely, you know, like they put in effort for calligraphy and all that. And it just said this, like, the worst things to say in this office and should not be said are things like anything up to you,
Whatever. Okay, this is a tip outside of finance, okay? If you are really like not in the mood to decide, what you can say is, I will have one of whatever you're having. If the person asks you. Right? I mean, I'm not saying whatever it is, but I will just have one of whatever you're having. But after you say that, you cannot complain, okay?
Yeah, so true.
And
So
yeah,
true.
that's the key part.
My escape from thinking, right? Especially when we eat out, I'll tell Lena this. Surprise me. And then sometimes she really does. Wow!
You cannot complain because you ask her to surprise you. Okay?
Yeah, because because I agree with your friend actually, because the anything also can is pushing the responsibility to the other person, and so not only you don't have to make a decision, and when the food turn out bad, it is not your
You cannot complain.
no, you can complain and say, I didn't choose it, you chose it, so it's bad. I can complain to you.
No,
I mean,
none of my friends ever do that to me because they will just get it left, right,
but- yeah, of course you
I asked
have.
you what you want, you tell me anything. I say, you sure anything? You sure? You sure anything? This is what I always tell them. You sure anything? I buy that you cannot complain. Then you make them think, I think maybe better don't say anything. Then she buy something bad. I don't know what she buy.
But I do have to acknowledge, Lena, that over the past decade of being together, the whole surprise me, she's getting very, very good at surprising me pleasantly. Instead of wow.
Instead of shocking you.
Wow, I would really surprise you.
Let me surprise you. I think that's also when I think it's also when it's because she knows better now what are your tastes like. So it's the same for money, right? As a couple kind of go together, they start to get a better sense of how each other works and how each other thinks and feel about money and things like that. Like what Yuan Chuan says, in a relationship, it is important to determine who is better with money. That is right. In my relationship, the husband is definitely better with money. So,
Really?
yeah.
One person is better at earning, another person is better at spending. How?
I'm better at spending. But the thing is that I realized that it causes him more stress if how should I put it? Like he's managing finances in a way, and it works for us because it causes him more stress when I manage it. So he will just say it's easy for him. It's easy for him to manage because he's used to doing it. So he has Excel and everything. So he manages it, and he's like, it's better I manage it because it's not that difficult for me. But if I'm the one that's managing, I get very stressed. And you know, husband and wife, like, if I'm stressed, then the stress transfers.
In the first place,
comment.
if he's going to do it anyway, then it's 顺便 for him. Yeah, just a bit more money, that's all.
And
Yeah.
I think you're okay lah. You're okay so far.
But I really like
Yeah.
what you comment. I think we should highlight this because when you want to eat anything, you know, she gets naughty. I gotta tell JC, I'm very guilty of that myself. What you want to eat?
No, you never do this action. What was that?
And the worst part
My
is,
money went by.
you know, we look at me and say, "Oh, I'm hungry. Let's get something actual to eat." Like, oh man.
You're an actual being, you actually exist, man. Oh, this is my friend once told me what was it that she said? She said something along the lines of, I can't eat CUM for lunch or something.
Okay, anyway, this is okay. Well, whatever it is, I think just anyway, the key is The key is communication. But you're going all over the place now. That anything is going all over the place. See, like,
I know finance not we cover what. So no relationship, money drama relationship. So we cover it's like money and you. So we cover money.
yeah, okay.
So we finish. So we finish the finance part. Now we don't go to the relationship part. Nah, just kidding. Okay, so now we are going to. That was so funny. But anyway, my friend was so funny. I don't know what lah. What our conversation was. That was so funny. Okay, so okay, so conclusion is like this money drama, basically, like we said many times during this whole podcast, is that communication is key. If you have clear communication, if you're clear about yourself, your expectations, your spending habits, etc., and you communicate it clearly from both parties together, then it will actually resolve a lot of money drama and drama otherwise in your relationship. Right? Okay, so any last words from, let's start with Chunmo. Chunmo, you have any last words? Last words.
Last words. I'm not dying yet. I'm not like Rachel. I'm not waiting to die. Okay.
Story together.
Yeah, let's tell the story together. Yeah, just like we said earlier, communication is key, but we just need to make sure that the expectations, don't make expectations a silent expectations. Expectations need to be said. And like Denise said earlier, she's not like can read people's mind. She's not X-Men. I mean, most people don't marry a mutant. Most people in Singapore or most people in Southeast, you're fake, you're a mutant. Most people don't, and most of us can't read each other's minds. So expectations need to be stated clearly and communicated clearly. So can't go into a relationship like, okay, you married me, you are supposed to know what I'm thinking. And you're supposed to know what I like. You're not supposed to, when I'm hungry, you're supposed to know what food to bring to me. It's like, okay, that's it, bye-bye. I'm not going to be with this person. No, not something. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Next up, we have Affix. For your
Last
last
words,
parting words. I mean, what? Last words is a funny way of putting it. Last words.
Is ultimately right. It's just having the guts to actually broach the topic, because it's quite easy to just ignore and forget, or no lah, we'll talk about it later. It's always very difficult to broach that topic, and so the first step is to not just do it in a safe place, but allocate some time. Talk to your partner. Say, hey, we really need to talk about this. Let's set aside some time. Put on some boxing gloves. Get ready. The crowd. Oh no, wrong topic. Just do it in a safe place, and always come from a perspective that it's just trying to understand the expectation, lor.
No judgment.
Yeah. It's best if you can involve a therapist, lah, quite frankly, because a lot of us financial advisors are really just therapists in disguise.
So people, please look for either Afik or Rachel. Now are those your last words? Okay.
So what I wanted
Okay.
to is, sorry.
No, Rachel, last words.
So what I wanted to add is, on top of just communication, also recognize that it's constant communication as well, because as couples grow old together in different life stages, there's different life goals, and the longer time goes, the more there's greater awareness, and there's also greater understanding of what is important to each of them and how it can be, the systems, any of the goals can be changed and can be gelled up to create a better system, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's important to have constant communication over time as well, to recognize when there's changes in goals and stuff.
Okay, that is very great from our panel of experts. I think we are done for tonight. Thanks very much for joining us on Ouch My Money. Watch out for the next one coming up in 2 weeks. I must do this because I just did my news, so I'm sure. 2
Yeah, I
weeks,
saw.
all right.
And the other hand got yellow, right? Oh yes.
Okay. Topic for another day. All right, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks, guys. Bye. Where's the music now? Oh, this last
Everyone.
Bye, guys.